Unconditional love for women, children, and dogs. We know that we just have to play our parts, and don't nobody give a damn about our broken hearts. Yeah, as a man, we gotta pave our way. Our only function is to work and slave.
Look at that. Our only function is to work and slave. I'm going to tell you a story. I was counseling an entrepreneur years and years ago. It's been 20 years ago. And he came to me and he was doing development. And he said, Jerry, at my wit's end, I don't know what to do. We were at lunch, invited me to lunch. And across the table, he starts to get tears in his eyes because he was out of options for this development that he was doing. It's 2006, give or take. And he was really struggling. And so he wanted some advice on where he thought he should go next. He was going to quit. I don't think I can do it anymore. And I'd known him for a long time, and he had children that were young, just like my kids were, and I knew who they were, and he had a daughter. And he asked me, again, how do you deal with it when it's so ugly? How do you deal with it? It's just coming at me from every direction. And I keep it real simple, folks, when it comes to particularly pushing through to try to find that success, because it's not easy. Like I just said, life is not easy. And my expectation is that life's not easy. But let me tell you what I told him. I said, I'll tell you what I do, and you can do the same thing if you want. I go home when it's ugly. Let's say in early 2004, I had a payroll of $200,000 due. This happened to me multiple times when I was just starting my company. And it was Friday night, and payroll was due on Monday, and I had no money. Talk about stress. Now, everything I had built over the course of 6 years at that point, gone in an instant because I didn't have any money. Try, how fast do you think that weekend went? Knowing that come Monday, I have to find an option to make this work, to get us through. That happened multiple times in the early days. My companies grew very quick. I was doing millions of dollars within $4 million the first year and $8 million the second year and $12 million the third year. The growth was exponential. And dealing with that, I didn't know how to deal with that, meaning I didn't know how to manage it. So I ran into these roadblocks. So I'd been there. As high a stress as you can have in business, I've been there multiple times, as a matter of fact, over the years, just up and down, it's the nature of business. So I said to him what I do, which is when it gets ugly, and I mean ugly, stress that a normal person going through life can't imagine, you have to find some way to stay grounded. You have to find that spot, that impetus, that inspiration that you need to go out and continue to persevere. You cannot turtle. You cannot sit in the car and cry. You can't curl up into a ball and do nothing. You can't quit. So what I did, I found that inspiration. My son was born in 98. My daughter was born, or 97, excuse me, daughter was born in 99. And so here I am sitting in 2004, and I had another son in 2001. And here I was, and I would go home, and the writing was on the wall, and the end was coming, and I was out of options. And I would go upstairs to their bedroom, and my daughter's room just happened to be the first room on the right-hand side, and I would open the door, and her whole room was pink, and it was nothing but girly. It was just fantastic. It was everything that I wanted to give her, to give my children, as someone who came from nothing and achieved so much. So in my head, my idea of success was passing on to my children the things that I didn't have. It didn't matter what happened to me. It didn't matter how I felt about it. My job as a man, to me, was to provide for my children in such a way, regardless of what I had to do. No matter the sacrifice I had to make, my wife and my children were going to have a better life than I had. It didn't matter about me. That's the essence. That's what being a man is about. And I would look at my daughter. She'd be asleep, right-hand side. She's about 6 years old at this point. Just young, little, worshiped her daddy. Daddy, to this day, she's daddy's girl. And I would look at her, and in my head, and this is what I told him across the table, I said, I want you to go home. I want you to open the door to her bedroom. When you're ready to quit, when you're ready to hand it all in, when you're ready to say to the world, I'm done, I give up, it's too much, I can't take anymore. I want you to open that door, and I want you to wake your 6-year-old daughter up, and I want you to tell her she can't have the roof over her head anymore that she has. She can't go to the school that she's been going to, right? We can't drive the car that we have. You're not going to be able to eat the same foods that you've been eating. You're not going to have the roof over your head. because daddy can't do it anymore. Daddy's giving up. And because daddy's giving up, you babies, life is going to change. He looked at me, crying, tears coming out of his eyes. He understood immediately what I was telling him. It's not about us. It's not about how we feel. And success in life at any level is not about how we feel. It's about what you can persevere, what you can put up with, what you can take. And you got to find that inspiration, and you have to then chase that down and use it every day to get through. Maybe it's just life generally. Work at McDonald's with a 6-year-old daughter at home. I don't care what the inspiration is. I don't care where you find it. I care that you use it and that you understand that responsibility as a man, the one that you have, is to make those babies' lives better. It is an honor for me to have slaved for my children and my wife. It is an honor for me to have sacrificed the way that I did. I did very well by them after coming from nothing. And there is nothing more rewarding in my life than to have been able to persevere, failing massively, but succeeding the same 180 degrees, the opposite direction. Nothing more important to me, nothing I'm more proud of than the years I spent working 15 to 18-hour days. And if you can talk to my wife and she will tell you 15 to 18-hour days for 15 plus years to grow companies, to provide for my family at a level and a type that would have been unimaginable to me as a child. And that was my honor. I am proud to have been able to work and slave for my family, regardless of what happened to me, to provide for them.